Hey friends, today's topic is Adept raid weapons and if they're worth your time. If not right now, then maybe in the future. If you didn't know, you can get 3 perks per column on raid weapons from, I believe, Salvation's Edge, Crota's End, and Root of Nightmares. I'm not sure of the others, but let's just assume that eventually this triple perk system is coming to old raids in the future. If these Crota weapons look appealing for you, by the way, you can knock Crota off the map with a finisher. And if you don't have the time to look up a tutorial, you can hang out in a service stream, links in the description and on the screen in front of you, to be able to get some of this loot yourself for free for minimal effort. So, if you have all the patterns for that specific raid, 3 perks per column. If you don't, 2 perks per column, which is still very good if you don't own all of the patterns, all of the red box weapons. It might be worth your vault space to just go for the Adepts in the first place. That's what today's topic is. I'm going to be going through all the god rolls of all raid weapons and talking about what the 11 out of 10 rolls would look like if you can get multiple perks at the same time to save on vault space. Like here you see a standard hammerhead, 4th time killing tally. Then look at this Song of Ute. It is stacked for PvE. It has both Bolt Shot, a damage perk, and Cascade Point, and Reconstruction, and Demolitionist. And then if I want to convert it to a PvP weapon, I just shift to Keep Away so it still works as an info stick. It saves me so many vault spaces by having this specific role. And that's the theme of today's video. I want to talk about all the weapons, whether or not you skip them entirely, you go for the crafting pattern, you keep a decent Adept if you get it, or if you farm for an 11 out of 10. Keep in mind that if you do happen to get, let's say, the wrong barrel or magazine perk, you can craft these at the crafting table and change it to your desired perk. I believe it costs 12 Spoils of Conquest to do so, 2,500 Glimmer, 19 cores. Let's move on to the God Roll Guide, though. I'm going to be going just in order on D2 Foundry and talk about anything that meets the eye. Starting with Critical Anomaly Sniper, I say this is a crafted pattern because being able to have multiple perks isn't really doing much for you. The chill clip interaction in PvP, first of all, requires you picking up bullets off the wall or off the floor, so I would just say keep it simple and always go opening shot, but if you did happen to get the triple pattern, it would probably look something like this, where you want your 11 out of 10 for PvP, but you could also hybrid a PvE and a PvP roll, kind of like my machine gun. Of course, since it is a sniper rifle, I would say you go for extended mag for AE, handling masterwork, and fluted barrel to up the handling as much as possible. Nullify, I would say it's just get the crafting pattern. You never know when this archetype is going to be buffed. Non-denouncement bow, I would say this is a farm if you are a bowman, specifically a bowman who also dabbles in arc subclasses or uses Mask of Bakris. The standard PvP roll is going to be Hipfire, Archer's Gambit, Compact Arrow Shaft, Elastic String, and a Draw Time Masterwork, giving you a 576 draw time. And it can go even faster with Collective Purpose Origin Trait, giving you an effectively faster reload, an effectively faster time to kill. But if you did have to go for multiple perks, I would say you would want a PvE PvP hybrid. You would want Shoot to Loot, Dragonfly or Archer's Tempo or Impulse Amplifier. There are so many good perks on this side with Bolt Shot, maybe Explosive Head, or Chaos Reshaped. So all of these perks on the same bow or two is worth farming. Summum Bonum, swords are meta at Crota, but why do that when you can just knock Crota off the map? Pretty much just look at the Aegis spreadsheet and try to get a bunch of perks that fit multiple raid encounters. I don't really have a recommendation here, but it is a keep if you do happen to see it. I'm not a glaive expert, but right now, I would say this is a keep if you get Impulse Amplifier and really, really high range. Just that combo right there. Within 3 useful perks on this side, because you never know when this archetype is going to be buffed. For now, Judgment of Kelgaroth is probably the best glaive to use, or maybe like the Hunter Exotic Glaive. Imminence is absolutely going to be a farm if you're a Titan SMG user. I would say you want to go for just high range and stability. Then your multi-perk is going to be probably Slice, Fragile Focus, and then Dealer's Choice for the final one. Slice is incredible on Hunter, and Fragile Focus just makes sense to push out the range. For the final perk, I feel like you should go for Chaos Reshape because that's what makes it unique. Desperate Measures to punch, and then maybe Kill Clip or Target Lock for the, I don't know, just next best thing. Very, very solid submachine gun. Next, we're moving up to the Crota raid. Fang of Your Ute, I would say just craft. Don't worry about getting... I don't even think you can get this from Crota in the first place, but... don't go for an 11 out of 10 on this. You're pretty much going to run the same thing anyway, and you're going to use the Radar Booster mod or the Icarus Grip mod, and the Adept is only going to have 5 more handling if you do this, so I would say just craft it. Song of Your Youth, this is a farm for PvE. For PvP, it is power crept by Hammerhead, but in a trial situation, Hammerhead is overkill because you just frankly have too much ammo. This is a fantastic machine gun, and it even has Zen moment, but that's less important on a machine gun when your time to kill is so rapid that the flinch doesn't matter because they're already in the spawn screen. Oversoul Pulse Rifle, I would say this is a craft. You can pass on it, but if you do happen to get a roll with both Swashbuckler and Sword Logic on the same one, maybe it is worth keeping so you can just switch between the two based on the mode or the build. Swordbreaker is going to be a farm for PvE, and if you can get a hybrid PvE PvP roll, that would be awesome too, which means it would have to land both Assault Mag and Acarize rounds, probably Barrel Shroud and maybe Full Choke depending on future changes. Then your perks would be Threat Detector, Slide Shot, and probably Demo or Pugilist. Then your final perks, 1-2 Punch, Opening Shot, and the final one really doesn't matter, so Dealer's Choice. Abyss Defiant, I think, is a farm for PvP because let's just stat it out real quick. Arrowhead to make the recoil better. We can even go with Stability Masterwork. As you can see, this range drop-off isn't really going to matter that much. 2 meters for that versus you get flinch less and it's more stable. It's up to you what you think is more important, but you can't go wrong with either. Then we enhance Zen Moment or Heal Clip. Either one is what you want to go for. And then look at this stat package. That is unheard of on this frame. That is incredible. Then, Sword Logic is a free 20% for a single kill. It's like Kill Clip without the reloading. And then Swashbuckler synergizes with Radiant to give you a clean, I believe it's a 0.5. And I do this all the time in PvP, which is why it's one of my most used weapons. It is such a slept on, such a powerful auto rifle. And the fact that you can get something like this, I would even say Collective Action's worth it with Behemoths farming crystals. If you can get something like this, it's going to save a lot of vault space for a very powerful weapon frame. That's one small update away from being hard meta. Word of Crota, you definitely want to lock in Precision Instrument, Sword Logic, and then the final one is probably Dealer's Choice. There are better weapons for Focus Fury abuse, but that's still worth mentioning. For the final perk, you don't want to go Adrenaline Junkie because it's hard to kill with a Magnetic Grenade. One shot and a Magnetic Grenade. It's Resilience gated. So maybe it is Frenzy with something like a Gemini Jester. Then your final perks, almost all of them are good. I would say Repulsor for a Gear Falcon Specialist. Try out Rangefinder on a crafted one to see if you like it. Demolitionist makes sense in builds, and Dragonfly makes sense in 6s in PvE. Past that, just standard, put a lot of range and stability on it, and it's going to feel fine. I would say this one's a craft, though, not a keep. I am going to do a video on it in the near future, though, since I do have a pretty decent Adept roll. Moving on to what is Rufus's Fury. It is Ron, Root of Nightmares. I would say that none of the weapons in this raid are worth farming, but there are some keepers, and I really do like Rufus's Fury as an auto rifle. It is, out of the auto rifles, a very meta pick. I would say you would want to multi-perk Moving Target, Target Lock, tap the trigger, and on all of the guns, you always want Paracausal Affinity. It's very solid. Then if you want to fix the recoil direction, Arrowhead Break, and then a range or a Stability Masterwork, probably a range for this archetype. since they kind of need it more. And then if you use this with other guns from the raid, even the power weapons, you can get a handling bonus, which is really nice. Next up, I believe, is Nessa's Oblation. I'm going to skip the grenade launcher. It's just like not even worth mentioning. This one can get opening shot, which can help with some of the stats. Since it is an adept, you can put an adept range on it if you did want to, but I really don't see that necessary. You can put an adept handling on it, but I think single point sling, or quick access sling, I mean, is usually better in this case. And since you are using an adept weapon, you can put adept Icarus and get the handling the rest of the way that way. So now you're sitting at 92 handling. Then for the final perk, I would say you're going to go Demolitionist, maybe Dragonfly. And if you want to save on your boot perk, Reconstruction makes sense, so you don't have to go auto-loading holster. So all three of these together, fantastic gun. And it's also worth mentioning that Paracausal Affinity perk with the Radiant, since you're going to be playing Prism, can just outright body shot players. So you can run this Peregrine Greaves and go crazy. The final two weapons, Michel and Achasia. For Michel, let's just pick some good perks. Same thing as usual. Paracausal Affinity, Swashbuckler for the Radiant combos. And the final perk really doesn't matter, but let's go with Tap the Trigger in case you're a controller player. Then I would say, personally, I like Perfect Float, but you really can't go wrong with any perk in this column. Ricochet rounds, range stability, and we're moving on to Achasia. For this one, I would say Enhanced Hipfire. This is definitely more of a craft, but if you do happen to have one with Paracausal Affinity and a lot of swappables, it might be worth your time, because you're ultimately not going to put an Adept mod on it, because you're going to go Hipfire Grip to use what's unique about this trace rifle. In the future, they might have an enhanced freehand grip, and that's where you wish that you kept this in your vault if it was a good roll otherwise. All you want to do is up that range and stability as much as you can. Moving on to Kingsfall. I believe these do not have the triple perks, but let's just pretend that they do, especially since we did Pantheon and some of the weapons did have triple perks. I would say out of all the weapons, you're only going to farm for Defiance of Yasmin if you're a sniper main in PvP, or Zally to be either a hybrid weapon for both modes, or if you're a Lion Rampant Titan floating around, since it is an enhanced hipfire grip and cannon that can get something like Eye of the Storm, very, very high AE, and very good base stats. And so if an Adept hipfire grip mod ever exists, you can go that, but fair warning with this hand cannon in PvP, its gun model is really difficult to... I just don't like it. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe I can't see my target. I just don't like it. Then we got Defiance of Yasmin. This one, you don't really need to go the multi-perk route, but if you did, probably just always going to lock in Snapshot with no distractions, perhaps. And then moving target, opening shot, and then a swap to Vorpal in case you play Trials or something like that. Want to be devious. Same thing, throw it all into range and handling, and the sniper is going to feel fantastic. I don't think there's anything else worth mentioning, except if you are a fusion main, know that Adept charge time goes crazy on fusion rifles. The next raid is Vow, which again falls in the unsure category of multi-perks. Insidious. No, we're going to skip it. I'm just going to talk about Submission and Deliverance. Submission is worth it if you're a PK Titan. You want to go for Swashbuckler, and then pretty much all of these perks on this column are awesome. I know I've heard good things about Encore from True Vanguard. So you do something like this, and then you go kill farm in 6s, and this is going to be fantastic. Put that Adept range on it, it's going to feel even better. Deliverance is probably worth farming for if you're a fusion main, especially since Prism can take advantage of Chill Clip when you start accumulating a lot of ammo. So I would say your multi-perk is going to look something like Tap the Trigger, Chill Clip, Successful Warm-Up, Cornered, Demolitionist, and probably Perpetual Motion. Then you want the Adept Charge Time and the Charge Masterwork. Probably want to crank the range as your remaining stat, and that's what it would look like. Now we're moving to our final raid, which is Vault of Glass, and I would say there are only 2 weapons worth farming for, one of them being Found Verdict. Even though the shotgun has fallen a little bit out of fashion, it's not even enhanceable, it's still really good. So your multi-perk would probably be Slide with Surplus, with Opening Shot, with 1-2 Punch, and then maybe Vorpal or Demolitionist, depending on if you have a build. Of course, you go for a mix of range and handling. Maybe they update the perk pool in the future too. Then we have Praetus Revenge. This is a unique snipe because with the Adept Icarus grip, I'm going to activate that and deactivate that real quick so you can see what all of it does. We're going to put no distractions on here with Opening Shot. Then we're going to crank that handling, and you're going to see it's 95 exactly. So we add this Adept Icarus grip, and it goes all the way to 100 with no distractions for that anti-flinch, or you could go moving target. Either one's going to be fine. Look at that aim assist, though. It's 88. Now it goes to 98, and then the one targeting on your helmet pushes it to 100. So you don't even really need it. No distractions is going to feel fantastic on this sniper. I think it's very, very slept on. I don't believe that there are adepts in other raids, so I'll save that video for another time. But for now, if you wanted to know what is worth farming with this triple perk system, what is worth keeping your eye on in your vault, well then, you have a video that I can link you to on stream. I don't know if I'm going to feature any gameplay in this video, but I wanted to record the commentary before I started a Twitch stream. So I will see you friends in the next one.